Be controlled by it. Number two, you need to understand your anger. And when we understand our anger, this is the point where we figure out things that we don't want to figure out about ourselves. When you begin to understand your anger, what you're doing, number one, is you're asking this very probing question. With who or what am I trying to protect with my anger? You cannot understand your anger until you have an answer to that question. Who or what am I trying to protect with this energy from my heart? Anger is a nuclear energy of the heart. So who or what am I trying to protect? Am I trying to protect my own kingdom? Am I trying to protect my own schedule? Am I trying to protect my own name? Or am I trying to protect God's name? Is it about God's kingdom? Am I trying to defend who God seeks to defend in the way that God seeks to defend them for the reason that God seeks to defend them? Or is it all about my own turf and my own reputation and my own image? What am I trying to protect with my anger? And when you begin to answer that question, you begin to understand your anger. And the moment you begin to understand your anger, the grip of anger starts to loosen. And the other way to know whether or not your anger is righteous or unrighteous anger, the other way to understand your anger is to ask yourself whether or not my anger is coupled with grief. You remember in Mark chapter 3, Jesus, he gets angry. He looks around at the Pharisees and he says he was angry. And then right after the word angry, it says that he was grieved. Jesus was angry, grieved at their hardness of heart. Is your anger coupled with grief? Okay, moms, you know this, right? You're angry at your child, but at the same time, you're grieved at what your child has done. I see how the sin's destroying his life, especially when they get to be teenagers. And so that anger is coupled with grief. That helps you to understand your anger. Or is your anger doesn't have any kind of sorrow, any kind of grief. It's just all rage. It's all destruction. If I could just wipe this person off the face of the earth, then I'd finally be happy. That's unrighteous anger. But until you ask the question, who or what am I trying to defend with this anger? Who or what am I trying to destroy with this anger? Until you begin to ask yourself the question, is my anger coupled with grief? You'll never understand it. But when you begin to understand your anger, the grip of anger kind of loosens. I'll tell you this in my own life. One of the reasons that I get angry is when someone misrepresents something that I say, or when someone assigns me motives that I don't have. This happens all the time in ministry. You say, what are you doing in ministry? I don't know. I guess God's trying to cure me of this. But it's very easy for someone who's in ministry or any leader who has to communicate to large numbers of people. It's very easy for them to be misunderstood, for them to be assigned motives that they don't have. So, for example, I could say something. One person hears one thing, another person hears another thing, and nobody hears what I said. Or nobody hears what I think I said. You know what I'm saying? No pun intended. And so when that happens and things get out of control and things, get crazy, I get angry. And as I begin to admit my anger, first thing you got to do is admit it. Wes, why are you so upset? Why are you being mean to Audra? Why are you so short with people? Well, I'm probably angry. Why are you angry? Well, because this, that, and the other happened. What's the reason for your anger? Who or what are you trying to protect with the anger? Well, I don't want people to think bad about me. I don't want, this makes me look bad. This hurts my reputation. Are you really concerned about God's kingdom? Well, no, if I'm honest, no, I'm not. Are you really concerned about the health of the church? No, if I'm going to be honest, I'm probably not. Well, that's sinful anger. Do you see that? And since that anger is sinful, what you have to do is you have to confess that and repent of that. And until you begin to understand your anger, you'll never be able to do those things. You'll never have the humility or the wisdom or the insight that you need to do those things. And your anger will keep you held just like this. But when you begin to understand it and confess it and see the sin in it, the grip loosens.